Yeah, the connection between musicians and pieces is very, very important and intimate. It's interconnected. And well, we have our regular players, and I certainly know their wonderful capabilities, and it's fantastic to be able to come across a piece and know that it's going to be played by David Perry, or it's going to be played by Jeannie Yu, or any of our musicians. Sometimes an instrument we don't use very often presents itself, and that's an exciting prospect, especially if you know of a good player that might be available and might like to come and to see what there is that maybe we haven't ever done before that would involve this instrument. It's refreshing. For sure. Our coming season is our 35th anniversary, so we want to make that special. And in fact, a few years leading up to an anniversary like that, I might even reserve a piece for that anniversary. I might be maybe 2 years ago, I was thinking about doing this piece, but thinking if we do it now, we won't be able to do it for our 35th anniversary because it's too soon. I generally like to leave about 4 or 5 years between a repetition of even a great work. Often it's longer than that. So sometimes I'll reserve a piece that I maybe would like to program sooner, but I want to hold off. Or maybe we have coming up a couple of, just a few years, it's hard to believe, but 27 will be a Beethoven year, anniversary of his death, and 28, I think, is a Schubert year. So those suggest that we pay special attention to those composers. So there again, I want to make sure that we don't do all the great Beethoven or Schubert works in the 2 years or 3 years leading up to that. And also, I believe we have a 2026 will be a special year in terms of our independence. So we have to think about that. So there are a lot of different elements that play into it. And then, of course, there are the venues, which is a whole nother subject. Well, that's the big puzzle, matching the venues with the programs. And that's something that I work very closely together with Allison. It's quite a process, and it can be rather trying. Again, it's the issue of, first of all, does the venue have a piano or not that's usable for our purposes? But then there's the question of size. How well is the venue suited to a particular kind of program? And it's kind of really a chicken and egg situation that has been rather a quandary for a number of years. And I think we've gotten much better at it, because what we've decided to do is to sort of partly work independently up to a point. So I start putting together programs in October, November, and Allison is searching for venues. And part of the problem is that there's some venues that want to be booked very early, so in the fall, and there are other venues that won't allow us to a commitment until several months later. So that's a quandary, again, that we have to work through. But at some point, we get together with the programs that I have come up with so far and the venues that she's come up with, and we start massaging. We try to figure out, first of all, we have to group the venues into a program. So we may want four performances of a particular program. So we have to figure out what 4 venues they can occur in, that program can occur in, and they need to be relatively close together because the musicians involved will have rehearsed, so they need to perform pretty much in the same time frame as the rehearsals. And even just from a standpoint of those who are coming from a distance, we have to house them. If they have to go back home and then come back, that's an inconvenience. So we try to keep them relatively in a block, but that's something that has to be worked through. And it takes a lot of work and a lot of back and forth. Sometimes it's a puzzle is what it is. And sometimes the last few pieces of the puzzle, contrary to the normal way of working a puzzle, sometimes for us, the last few pieces are the hardest.